is TV 13 News at 11.
You're looking at a live picture from the scene of a plane crash in Florence.
It happened this afternoon. Tonight, all 4 people on the plane are hospitalized. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lorraine Woodward reporting from Myrtle Beach.
In Florence, I'm Nicole Boone.
Hello, I'm Bob Juback. It's been nearly 9 hours, almost to the minute, since a small plane crashed into the back of a home in what is normally a very quiet downtown Florence neighborhood. That plane is still embedded in the back of the Reverend Chad Davis's home on Margaret Drive. This is a live picture. Margaret Drive is just off of Edisto, which is a rather busy street in Florence. No one was at home when the plane hit. 4 people from Pennsylvania were on board that aircraft. All survived. All are in the hospital. We'll have the very latest on them coming up in just a moment. Now, since 6 o'clock, TV 13 has learned new information concerning that flight.
The plane that crashed is a Piper Cherokee PA-28. 4 people were on board, and the plane was not originally headed to Florence. The FAA tells TV 13 News that the flight plan called on the foursome to fly today from Miami to Savannah. For some reason, the pilot decided in flight to change that plan and go to Florence instead. And at 3:05 p.m., that flight ended when the plane crashed into the house on Margaret Drive.
TV 13 was the first station on the scene, and here's what it looked like just minutes after that plane crashed. The plane clipped some pine trees, lost a wing in those trees, and then plowed nose first into the home of the Reverend Chad Davis. There was no explosion and no obvious odor of fuel. Again, the Reverend Davis and his family were out of town at the time.
Police, fire, and rescue squads arrived quickly, and the 4 people in the plane were rushed to the hospital. There is no word as to what caused the crash, although some speculate, and let me stress the word speculate, that the plane could have been low on fuel. Weather probably was not a major factor. FAA investigators will be on the scene early in the morning. Now, this is a map of exactly where the plane crashed in Florence. It happened in a residential neighborhood at 1111 Margaret Drive. That's 1 block east of Edisto Drive and 1 block north of Wisteria. One of the first reporters on the scene was TV 13's Cecil Chandler. He is still there tonight and joins us live now from that neighborhood with the very latest. Cecil, what's the picture there now?
Well, Nikki, this is something you watch on television. It happens somewhere else. It doesn't happen in the community that you live in. But we're in Florence, and as you can see right there, there's a plane in the side of a house, a residential area, and there are a lot of trees here, and this is just, it was unbelievable when I arrived and saw this plane in the side of this house. Now, the Reverend Chad Davis, who lives here, was not at home. He was out of town on vacation, but since then, he did arrive back home about 11 o'clock tonight, and we did talk to him about the plane, his reaction to that in the side of the house that he lived in, and here's what he had to say. Let's look at that interview right now.
Well, it was unreal. It was just unbelievable. I'd received a call from my associate pastor and told me that there was an airplane in the house, but, you know, how can you imagine something like that? I think it was shock and just grateful thanks that nobody was hurt. And one thing I feel good about it is that somehow the plane was deflected and didn't hit our neighbor's house, which would have been much worse. There was nobody home here. But our concern now is for those 4 people who are in the hospital, and I just urge the prayers of this whole community to be with them. This house can be fixed. We're okay. The house is okay. This is just something to be used. We want them to be okay. That's our concern now.
Bob, Nikki, this was a tragic incident, but it could have been a disaster, but it was not as bad as it could have been. A lot of people in the area said that. One of the first people to arrive inside the house to try and help those was Mark Chapman. He lives behind the house over here. Now, Mark, when you went into the house, what did you see?
A tremendous amount of debris. We walked in the room and tried to pick the wood planks off of the people.
Where was the airplane? Where could you see?
It was on the cockpit. Was on top of a bed, and it was kind of an odd thing to see.
All right, the people were in there and they were hurt.
They were hurt, yes, sir, and they were moaning and groaning, and we tried the best we could to break them free of that debris.
Okay, your sister was, well, let me talk to your sister. Kimberly, come on in here with us. All right, Kimberly, what do you remember now? What was going through your head when you were up here, you know, with these people?
All I could think is there's no way there can be any survivors in there. I mean, it was just awful. We walked in the room and there was debris everywhere and the dust was still coming off of the plane. It was just unreal. I've never seen anything.
But they were alive and conscious.
They were. There was one woman and she was just groaning and moaning. It was just horrible. And we were trying to get the debris off of her and we didn't know what to do. We didn't want to make the situation any worse than it already was.
Okay, thank you a lot for joining us. Bob, this is a situation, they were telling me just a few minutes ago, the flight pattern, the approach pattern for this,